All right. So, my plans for this slide here, for this slideshow, this PowerPoint presentation, is I would like to potentially reuse this for con panels if I get invited as a con guest in the future. So I would really like to hear your feedback on things that you would like to see more of or less of, because this is kind of like its first iteration. I definitely want to expand upon this and refine it and make it better as I go. And I will also give you the disclaimer. I'm rather new to the professional scene. So there's lots of things that I'm not capable of teaching people that like other voice actors can. Things like vocal training, I've never taken a voice acting lesson in my life. I've never taken a voice acting lesson in my life. I am the wrong person to teach that. I just don't know. You know what I mean? It's not, I'm basically mostly self-taught and I did theater things. Those are my things. That's the way that I learned. So a lot of the things that I'm going to be teaching are things that are good to look out for in the fan dubbing community, because that's where I have a lot more experience. I had like a decade of experience with fan dubbing stuff. So you're gonna get a lot of like, where do I find places to audition for fan dubbing? How do I decide if a project is legitimate and might actually get somewhere? And how do I make connections? Blah, 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 blah. What kinds of equipment do I need? That's what you're going to find out here. If you want to know tips on how to get better at voice acting as a, from a, like, what do I do with my voice perspective? A lot of my answer to that is going to be experiment. You know what I mean? I can't give you the proper direction a true vocal trainer will give you. But I can give you this, so let's get going! First of all, what you need to get started, you're gonna need determination. It's very, very, very important that if you want to do voice acting, that you have to be strong and dedicated to what you're doing. You're going to get rejected to things. That is a natural part of the process of growing and getting better as a voice actor. I have made, in my professional auditions, out of every professional audition I have ever gotten, I have gotten exactly 2 of the characters that I auditioned for. And that was in the case of Noriko in Gunbuster and Cleo in Casepis. Everything else was I was pulled because I auditioned for a main character and they decided to give me a smaller character instead, or they didn't actually hold auditions. They just cast based on people they knew who would do really well for specific roles. So, but yes, rejection is normal. It's a part of growing. It's a part of learning, and you need to be able to move past it, learn from your failures, and continue to grow. Obviously, this is less of a big deal when you're doing fan dubbing stuff than it is professional, but nonetheless, a rejection does not mean you are bad. A rejection means that you were learning, or perhaps you weren't the right fit for a character. Determination is very important. Go Undertale! What do you all need? I can do that after. Hold on, that's actually really funny. Let me do that. What do you all need? The next thing you're going to need is equipment. If you use a cruddy, like, first-time headset microphones that have, like, low quality, you're not gonna really get into anything. Even if you're doing a fan dub. They need to find you to be understandable. You can still use lower quality equipment, but you definitely are gonna need something better than a headset. But the good news is there are still very cheap and affordable and accessible equipment that you can get on a budget that will do just fine for a fan dub. It'll be everything you need, so there's no need to worry. Yeah, hi, French! It is my birthday! But you can get everything you need for a pretty reasonable price. It's, it's just knowing where to look. And what you need, of course. A willingness to take critiques is also highly important. Highly important. Because if you want to grow, you're going to need to listen to what your director is saying to you. And if they ask for a change, in your read, then you need to be able to do that change. You need to be able to do that change without being upset about it. No, like, this is within reason, of course. If you have a director that tells you to say yes in, like, 20 different ways, that's, like, really annoying, and I understand being annoyed. It's a little unprofessional to get publicly annoyed about that, but you know, like, yes, 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 yes. You know, there's like a bunch of different ways you can say the same word, but like minor little shifts in a tone, it can be annoying. It's just important to try to keep a level head when you're working on these, and remember that it's not you. It's just trying to match the vision that your director wants. Sometimes your reads are, in fact, perfectly fine, and your director just wants a little shift to the left or the right. That's normal. Next thing you need, and personally, what I consider to be the most important quality of a voice actor, is kindness. Because if you're kind, and you're fun, and you're friendly, and you're easy to work with, people are going to come back to you. They're going to remember you. They're going to want to work with you again. They'll cast you for things even if you didn't audition for them. It's like, it's not only recognizability, kindness, it's also like being able to make connections in friends. And so always remember to be nice and sweet, you know? As a screenwriter, big agree. You're more likely to get optioned when people want to work with you. Yeah. I know that there's exceptions sometimes, because there's some awful people who've been in the industry, like Vic Mignogna and stuff like that. But, like, you know, those are kind of exceptions to the rule, and not the rule itself. Kindness is going to get you so much farther. So much farther than anything else. And making a close friend group while you're still doing fan dubbing can also be, like, a pretty good way to springboard, you know? The only reason I managed to make it pro is because I started doing fan dubs. We did Cucumber Quest fan dubs with Jello and Co. way back when, and then that circle grew and grew and grew, and here we are, you know? So many of us are pro now. There's like me, Aram, Jello, Will. We're with the big gang now, you know? Oh man, I remember that. It was so much fun. I kind of miss doing silly fan dubs sometimes. It's just not seen as professional to do it once you've broken the pro barrier. How do I learn? Ways to learn beyond the ways that I've already explained, such as being able to take critiques and being able to learn and grow from your failures and such like that. One of the best ways to go is, if you're in school, try out drama classes. Drama classes, while theater and voice acting are not a one-to-one carryover, they're actually much closer than film and voice acting. See, theater, if I were to put these on a scale of how big your performances should be, at the very bottom is film. Film acting is very subtle. You need to be slight in your expressions, micro expressions. You need to be less like big with your voice. You don't move up and down as much unless you're playing like an eccentric character, ham character. So the change between film acting and voice acting are super different. I cannot film act. I've tried it before. I'm so bad at it. I'm so bad at film acting. I could never. But theater acting. So a step above film is voice acting. Voice acting is, I would say, above the middle point. If we were to make like a sliding scale, voice acting is above the middle point. And at the very top, the most larger than life your performance is, that would be theater. And in general, it is so much easier to direct somebody down, to make somebody like less big than it is to push someone up and make them bigger. So, in my experience, drama classes, local theater and local improv are wonderful ways to get started and get critiques in a like smaller setting than the internet, because the internet can be pretty scary. You've got lots of people observing you from all sorts of places. Now, another great way to learn is reading visual novels out loud and experimenting. Like, trying out new things while you're it can be like putting on a funny voice. Or it can be, that's how I learned how to do a small French accent. Is actually I was playing crosscode with Nan, who I played Emily, and I learned just from practice through there. And it, like, I must emphasize it's not a very good French accent, but that is how I learned. That is how I learned. I did not. Yes, Emily. I love her so much. She's so great. But like experimenting that way. Friends, if you have friends who like to want to practice and want to learn, bouncing off of another person's read can really influence your take. If someone does a really, really big take in the line before yours, you're very likely to try to match the energy and do another big take, etc., etc. You springboard off of each other. So reading with friends, reading visual novels and games with friends, and this can be entirely privately, it does not have to be on a stream. You can just do it over Discord. Have a good time. That's a really fun way to practice. Next up, this one's a short point. Kill the cringe inside you. It only holds you back. You have to not be embarrassed to be bad at something. You've got to understand that sometimes you're gonna try a voice and it just doesn't work. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's just gonna sound bad. You're gonna be like, oh, that sounds bad. I should try something else instead. Maybe this would sound better. You know. Be cringe and be free. Be cringe and be free. As soon as you remove those shackles from yourself. As soon as you remove those shackles from yourself, you can do so much more as an actor. It really elevates your work. It's the same with improv. Improv, I hear, I've never been very good at improv, but improv, I hear one of the best ways to get better is to just say the first thing that comes into your head. Even if it's not all that funny, not all that great, the first thing that comes to your mind, that's what you say. And that usually helps you grow and improve, and you start getting wittier over time and so forth. Killing the cringe is something I just can't do. I can't listen to my voice, to my own voice enough to voice training or practice acting. That is it is like a hard step to get to. And that's exactly why I suggest the reading visual novels with your friends privately first. Because it's a small, controlled location with people who love you. You know what I mean? That's people who love you and will support you and be happy that you're taking interest in things. Those are people who won't care if you do something bad once in a while, you know? And like, they'll cheer you on. You can do better, you know? Killing the cringe is something you have to work your way up to. I do know the feeling of not being able to listen to your own voice. Not anymore. Not anymore, of course. I mean, I watch the things I'm in. Sometimes. But, depends on how much I think I'll enjoy the thing, of course. I watched all of Zenshu because I got cast as an extra. It's so worth my time. I love Zenshu. But, I would also say that Pathfinder, D&D, and tabletops can work wonders if you don't read VNs. Yes! That is also true. Pathfinder is great, especially for improv practice. If you like to do improv, it's, Pathfinder's wonderful for that. Killing the cringe, yeah, is something you really stop doing for a long time for some people. Some people inherently have more shame than others. It's like a harder mountain to climb for some people than it is for others, and that's okay. You take your time, you do what you can, we grow, we become better. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. For those with the money to do so, there's lots of voice actors who provide weekly classes. And these are why I've never done. The fact that they cost money is why I've never done one. Oftentimes they'll be like $200 for a course of lessons, which is cheaper than going to college for sure. But it's still a sizable chunk out of your pocket, you know what I mean? But if you have the money to do so, which your range that you're looking at is about $100 to $400 for a class, for like a course which often lasts like a few weeks, is the most common. Some of the best places to get ones are as follows. There's Voiceover Camp and Skills Hub. And I believe I asked, since I've never taken any classes, but Aram has taken a lot, I specifically asked him for suggestions. Let me look at what he said, because there was some extra details he gave. But he said Voiceover Camp was one of the best ones. There's there's like Real Voice LA, Ace Studios LA, Strawberry Hills Studio. And by the way, most of these you don't have to do in person. Most of these are all done remote. So you can just do that from home with whatever means you currently have. And Red Scythe Studio is another one. One of the big things to note with getting a class is the best way to find classes, new classes that you know will be quality, because it's with voice acting classes, you can have someone who's a wonderful voice actor or a wonderful director and not a very good teacher. You're going to want to look out to see what other voice actors recommend. If someone is like, oh, hey, I took this class, if it was enlightening and great, take that one. That's a good one to do. I know that Lenti does them every now and then. I think Sound Cadence just opened some up with Lenti recently. I don't know if they're closed already. They might be. But Lenti's a great one to learn from. But generally if you join some like voice acting servers, you'll find people who can recommend good ones to you. Now, microphones. This is the equipment section. This is what you're going to need if you want to do fan dubbing and you want to do voice acting, right? So if you are new and you're looking on a very small budget, what you're going to want to do is you're going to get like a blue snowball, which is the very basic one. I actually recorded, for those of you who know the Cucumber Quest fan dub, I actually recorded all of the Cucumber Quest fan dub on a blue snowball. That was my microphone at the time. It was like okay, I don't know if it still costs this much because inflation and whatnot, but at the time it was like $40. It was like $40, yeah, blue snowball gang. They're really, really good for a basic first-time microphone on a budget. That's about what I'd say is the baseline for what you would want for a fan dub, is a blue snowball. That is, you'll have to be careful with things like plosions. I know that they don't come with a pop filter, which is like a covering, like a fabric or metal covering that stops your voice, the air coming out of your mouth, which often, how do I describe a plosion? Okay, when you do a p, like a P, and you can hear that puff of air really loudly in the microphone, yeah. That is what's called a plosion or a pop. And those are, so the blue snowball and blue yeti are not the best at those. So you want to be careful with those when you're doing that, and potentially get a standing, like desk standing pop filter to go in front of them, but that is optional. If you do record with your face facing a little bit away from the microphone, usually that'll get you covered. You'll be okay. That'll cover you for now. Now, if you're looking at a step up and you want to do things like, I heard some people hold a pencil up when they do P's to help. Yes, that is another thing you can do. It doesn't always work if you're like me, because I use a lot of air when I speak because I'm so fucking loud, is you can hold a pencil up a little bit away from your face, and it actually splits the air like a fork, and puts it over to the other sides, and makes it less likely that you're going to have a plosion in the microphone. It's it's good on a budget. It's good on a budget, or if you're like me and you do have a pop filter and you still do plosions. You still do plosions because you use so much air. I have really bad air control. Don't be like me, folks. I am like actively a problem to my directors because of that. The amount of times I've heard watch the plosions. Oh, I feel so bad. but yeah. Means why I'm really good at yelling though. Lungs too powerful! Now, if you're looking to do things like indie games, you want to do a step above fan dubs, what you're looking at is a Rode NT1A or NT2A. And these like range from $200 to $600 generally, and they do come with a pop filter built in. So you can use a pop filter with those. Pretty awesome. And they're quite good quality. However, if you use this, you will need a preamp, which is a wire, like it's like a little box that you plug the microphone wire into, and it provides what's called phantom volts, which is the electricity that your microphone will need to function. Because technically, certain high-quality condenser microphones will require electricity to run, much like any other kind of electronic device that you would plug into a wall. And a preamp provides those phantom volts to power the microphone without harming it like directly plugging it into a wall would do. It also converts the signal that you get from the microphone into digital data that can be plugged into your computer. So, those are very helpful. Now, if you're a streamer, the most common streamer microphone that I see around is the Shure SM7B. It's also expensive. I don't know the price point because I haven't looked it up. But the Shure SM7B seems to be the most popular streamer microphone that I've seen. It also requires a preamp. And once you get into this category, the requiring a preamp option, you're probably gonna be shilling at least $500 for your setup. That's why these are really good if you're just starting out and deciding whether or not you actually like to voice act. Now, here is what I use. It's a Neumann TLM 102 or a TLM 103. I use a TLM 102 because it's a slightly cheaper option. But when you get into the point of Neumann, this is the professional. This is the professional grade. If you have Neumann written down on your home studio setup, that's when a director, that's what indie directors look for. That's when they know that you have a setup that will be professional grade quality, and a lot of the times that's the kind of person they can guarantee that their sound quality will work. So that's what you do. Now we get into the preamps. oh boy. So would you like to guess what kind of processor I have? I have an AMD. So I have to use the lower grade Scarlet because I bought a gaming laptop, and gaming laptops use an AMD processor. I didn't know this when I bought it. Okay, so when you have here is for your preamps, the most basic one that does what you want is a Scarlet. You can get a Scarlet Solo or a Scarlet Duo depending on if you're doing like podcasting or if you're doing something by yourself. If you're doing podcasting, you'll want a Duo because then you can plug in 2 microphones. I use a Solo, and a Solo, when I bought it, was about $150. It's pretty affordable for a preamp. It is not the best quality you can get, but in some cases, it's the most accessible. It's really like the most accessible preamp you can get. Now, if you want to, I have worked in studios, professional quality studios that use both the Apollo preamp and the M-Box Studio. For example, Crunchyroll uses an M-Box Studio. When I go into Crunchyroll, they use an M-Box Studio with a Neumann TLM 103. That's what we record on in Crunchyroll. Now, if I were to go to Sound Cadence Studio, which is where I record for ZZZ, we use an Apollo Duo with a TLM 103. Neumann TLM 103 is basically the standard. You will just see that in any recording studio. And those are if you have a lot of money, because a TLM 103 is like $1,000, and an Apollo Duo is like $500. So that's That's if you have the bucks to shill. All right. Now, for editing softwares, if you are doing fan dubs and you are doing things by yourself, and you need to edit your own lines, like cut out your silences, delete your flubs and stuff, which some fan dub directors will ask you to do. Personally, I don't really like the fan dubs that ask their voice actors to do that usually tend to be a little bit more on the unprofessionally organized side, but like they do exist. They do exist sometimes, and some of them still do finish, but you will need you need the editing software both to record your lines and to edit them down if you need to. Yeah, Adobe. I do not use Adobe Audition. I don't think a single studio that I work for uses Adobe Audition. Nobody likes Adobe Audition, but if you're willing to shell out the money, you can use Adobe Audition. It has decent quality, and to my understanding, it's better if you're mixing music. Like, it's morally legal. Pirate Adobe. Down with Adobe! I hate that they swapped to a subscription model. Oh, it's so awful. I don't have any Adobe software. I just can't afford it. It's too much money. Not worth my time. But, now if you want something free won't cost a dime from your pocket, and does everything you need it to for fan dubs. Audacity's great. Audacity is great. It's, DaVinci Resolve is free as well, though it definitely works more for podcasting than voice acting. I didn't realize you could record in DaVinci Resolve. I thought that was mostly a video editor. That's interesting. Huh, let me write that down. Make sure that I know that for the future. I'm gonna look into this, because that might be something that I might want to add on, if that's a thing. I'd have to look on their audio. I'd have to look into their audio stuff. See if it's worth recommending. Audio editing. Boop. Thank you. That has been noted. Oh, it's a recent update. Also, hi. Thank you, Oma. It's been a great birthday so far. I'm having a wonderful time. I don't know how well it works, but I do mess about in GarageBand. GarageBand is very, very good for music. Voice acting-wise, like, I did used to use it back when I was recording all of my stuff on my mom's computer rather than my own. Way back when I was in, like, middle school and in high school, before I had a laptop. Oh, it works, you know what I mean? Like, in a pinch, GarageBand will work. But Audacity is going to be better for what you need, and it's still free. Bone creaking sounds? Yeah, I know, I age myself all the time. I'm 31 today. I'm 31! I'm one of those people that don't mind sharing my age. It's fine, you can make fun of me for being old. Now, here's what I use, actually. This is what I use is Reaper. Reaper is cheap and also really high quality. And if you get the business license for Reaper, which you can do, you can also, you can use it in your studios for business work. Reaper is, Kiss Meeks! I'll go fetch her in a second. 30s gang! My god, I forgot we're, like, very close to each other in age, man. Cause I've been following your work for like half of my life. Oh my god. Okay. So actually Reaper does get used professionally sometimes. You will see Reaper used sometimes in studios. People like Reaper. It's pretty good. It has some issues. In my experience, I think the worst quality of Reaper is that it has like a slight delay feedback when you record. Like, you can hear yourself, but you hear yourself at like a tiny little bit of a delay. And it doesn't sound, it's so distracting, and I don't want that. If you heard yourself at no delay at all, it'd be fine. But the little delay it throws me off. On the other hand, another thing that you see very commonly in studios is Pro Tools. I don't know how to use Pro Tools because Pro Tools is another subscription method thing, but it looks like it has a lot of really, really good keyboard shortcuts. It's really good at keyboard shortcuts, so it'll handle all of that you need. You can add it very quickly in Pro Tools. If you ever sit down and watch an audio engineer work in Pro Tools, it's insane. They're like pushing 80,000 buttons at the speed of light. They are editing while you record. Like, real time. It's crazy. Now, moving on. I think how far in are we? Oh no, am I going slow? Let me check. Oh, no. Okay, I'm going a little slow. I'll try to speed up my pace a little bit. Here we go. Will this posted any more post stream? Yes! So not only am I going to put the VOD out, I'm going to put thank you so much for the follow! Not only am I going to put the whole 8-hour VOD up, I'm also going to cut out this section specifically. I'm going to cut out this section specifically and post it individually. If I have the free time, which I doubt I will until maybe December, I may edit it down. And cut out things like yapping. I love the notification. Yeah, it's new. It's brand new. I think Vey Valiana is the person who animated it. They're really good. They're a fantastic animator. Now, if you're looking for fan dub auditions, some of the best places to get them are the Voice Acting Club Discord, which is pretty much nowadays the primary hub. Voice Acting Club Discord is the best place to go. They have both paid and unpaid auditions. Now, I will strongly suggest not auditioning for a paid audition unless you have at least a Rode NT1A. Like, you're in that, you need to be using a preamp condenser microphone to be doing an indie audition. Because if you audition when you are using like a Blue Yeti or Blue Snowball for something that's going to be like a published game, that reflects a little, like, that's just gonna annoy the director. It, like, wastes their time a little bit, and, sometimes you get remembered. So, yeah, definitely wait until you're moving up a little bit in your microphone quality before you start doing those. Now, and moving along, we also have the Casting Call Club website. It's very easy and simple to use. However, the quality of the reliability of the projects that you'll find on Casting Call Club website tend to be a little bit on the lower side. Like, a lot of them don't actually happen. There's a really great way to learn what's worth your time to audition for and what's not. And I can tell you, I might want to speed my way through, and I'll talk about that. I think I put it in a later slide. Yeah. Move forward. Yeah, here it is. Literally the next slide. What's a good thing to audition for? Perfect. All right, it highly depends on if you want to go pro or not. Don't do an anime fan dub if you want to be a professional anime voice actor. Or at the very least, don't do an anime fan dub with your real name if you want to be a professional anime voice actor. It looks so bad, you will get kicked off of any chances to work for Sentai Filmworks, Bang Zoom. You'll get kicked out of Crunchyroll. Any studio that does anime, they will kick you out. Don't do an anime fan dub. Don't do it. Now, if you do want to just do it, why does it look bad to them if you do that? Copyright. They don't want their people, they really, really, really don't want their people doing things illegally like that. But, like, if you're just a fan, if you're just wanting to fan dub because you want to, for the love of the craft, you don't want to be professional, it's just a hobby for you, then yeah, you can audition for an anime thing. However, the big thing to look for doing some kind of anime fan dub is you need to look at the scope. The smaller scope is way more realistic in being finished. If something says they want to fan dub an entire anime series, don't do it. That's not happening. That is not a project that is going to finish. That is not a project that's going to be finished. Do not do it. Full anime and full games are unlikely to be completed projects. Look for maybe single episodes or small scenes. Another example of a thing that I don't want Okay, let me be vague about it. I don't want to admit that I was involved in a fandom like this. Okay, so let's say let's say there's a bigger video game that has smaller bite-sized scenes, story scenes, smaller scenes within them that only are maybe like 6 to 10 minutes a piece. If someone's like, hey, I want to do dubs of these smaller 6 to 10 minute a piece dubs, dub these little small scenes, and we're gonna do just these small scenes from the game, not the entire game. That's more likely to happen. What if I want to fan dub all of Hamtaro? You will get smited by the Hamtaro copyright holder gods. They do not. That's what happened to a certain abridged series. To my dismay. So, you will get smited. All of Scooby-Doo Night of 1,000 Frights! That's already in English. Why would anyone doubt that? I guess for funsies. You could do it for funsies. You can, on the other hand, go for full games if the games are A, small, short, like smaller games, or B, the person who is fan dubbing the game has a reliable backlog of things that they've done before. If they have done maybe like the majority of a game, if they reliably do other games, etc., 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 that is more likely to happen. Paid projects are always more likely to be finished. If you have the microphone quality to do this. Oh, hi Demi, welcome! It's wonderful to see you! But if you have the money if you have the good quality enough microphone and equipment to do a paid project, then you are, like, if they pay you, they are far more likely to finish it. And that is because of the sunk cost. As soon as a creator has to spend money on their work to make it happen, there's more like a kick in the pants motivation to make it happen. You know what I mean? But like, sometimes they still fall through. Sometimes it still falls through, and that's normal. It happens. So such and such. I need to drink something. My throat is starting to get dry. Give me just a moment. Oh my god, I'm so glad I can yap during this. I was so nervous that I was going to be doing this and being like, oh, I cannot think of anything to say. And another hydrate. Delicious. I was so nervous I was going to start this and be like, oh, I don't know what to say. What did I say? I'm doing fine, I think. Excellent. Redub the old 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo. For the love of the game. Oh my god. Alright. Yes. But, yes, paid projects still sometimes fall through, but they're far more likely to actually finish or go somewhere. And even if they don't, you're getting paid. Like, it sucks that you don't get, like, final product, but you still got some money out of it, so it's still worth your time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's only not worth it if they aren't paying you, you know? You take what you can get. General tips. You will lose far more auditions than you succeed. Oh, right. I have gotten 2. Right. I gotta change that number from 1 to 2, because that should be 2. But I have only gotten 2 professional roles I directly auditioned for. So that's so normal. It's so normal to not get the things you audition for. It happens. That's just a part of the game. Getting rejected, it might start hurting. It might hurt when you're first starting out. But after a while, you get used to it. Like it's nothing. It's just, you know, it's what happens. It's what you do. It's, really, it's so good from the perspective of, like, building up a thick skin against haters, too. You know what I mean? Because eventually you get to a point where you just don't care anymore. You don't care about getting rejected. You don't care about people disliking what you do. There's always going to be somebody who's not happy with something you do. It's life. It's life, you know? You can't change their mind, so you might as well just ignore it. It's whatever. No one starts out good. My first audition was terrible, even with my theater background. It takes practice and determination. I was very much debating. I have my first audition I ever did unlisted and on YouTube. So it still exists. If I play it, I'm probably gonna cut out the visuals. Also, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the follow. But I've been I'm kind of tempted to play it with the visuals turned off because I was a middle schooler when I did it, and I accidentally included a photo from a game that I didn't know was a bad game to have included a photo from. And I don't have the files anymore to change that, so... But I don't know. I might play it. Is it what I think it is? Is it the, Oh, well, it was Shugokata. It was a Shugokata audition. Oh, right! You did have my YouTube back then, so maybe! But I did audition for Blonde Sunrise way back when as well, so it was around that time period. I think Shugokata was first, but that was like 3rd or 4th. I think. Do not record for more than a 4-hour chunk. This is why I keep my streams shorter. You can damage your voice. I am only going 8 hours today because it is my birthday and it's special. And it's a special day, and I'm going to rest my voice afterwards for 2 hours because then I have a tabletop session. But, you know, do as I say, not as I do. But it is very important to keep your voice safe. You want to also make that 4 hours shorter. You want to make that 4 hours shorter if the voice that you're doing is more strenuous. For like I was doing when I was doing Lancer, where it's got like that texture and rasp to it. This would like hurt to be doing for a long, long time. So instead of doing a 4-hour session with that, you're gonna want to maybe like 1 hour max. You know what I mean? Know your limits. Don't hurt yourself. It's the worst thing you can do as a voice actor is to overdo your voice. Thank you so much for the follow. It's wonderful to have you. And finally, honey lemon tea is your best friend. When you are having a sore throat from illness, or you perhaps did accidentally overdo a stream or a recording or something like that, the best thing you can do for your voice is to grab some honey lemon tea. You can also there's a specific kind of tea that says honey lemon, cinnamon, some other kind of flavors in it. It's called Throat Coat. Throat Coat is the only kind of tea I drink. Because I hate tea. Tea is bad. Tea is bad and gross. But I will drink Throat Coat because it is good for me. That's it. That's my limit. Alright, what do we got next? General tips part 2. Fuck around with making sounds and voices when you're alone. Experimentation is the best way to discovery. Another related tip that I've seen people do is like if you put on like an anime that you like, or maybe some kind of show that has an accent, a character that speaks with an accent, mimicking those sounds, those voices, those accents, very helpful, wonderfully useful to have in mind. We're getting real close to the one mark. Okay, I'll speed us along. If a voice hurts and you can't keep, I already mentioned that. Be kind. This is just a reiteration of the first slide. Be kind. If people like you, they will continue to work with you. They will want to be around you. They will cast you for things. They will think that you're easy to work with and pleasant. That's so vital. It's so vital of a skill to have, is to just be kind. I would recommend Bigelow Earl Grey tea. That stuff is great with milk. Oh, okay. Here's something to know. Dairy is actually bad for voice acting. Dairy tends to spur the body to produce mucus. So you're more likely to have your lungs, you're going to get coffee, or you might have like mucus coating your throat, the inside of your throat, or you might get like stuffy nose sinuses. Speaking of, I need to blow my nose. Let me do that real quick. I'm going to mute. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, no, it's no big deal. It's technically less worse for people who aren't asthmatic than it is for me, where I am asthmatic and I've got like the sinus problems, and it's almost like devastating to have dairy right before recording for me. But some people it's not as bad. But in general, that's something that you would want to have. If you're gonna have milk, you're probably gonna want it after you record, just not before. That's not a before thing. Me mimicking the bad French accent when a boss says everything in French but poorly. Oh. If you want to go pro, you have to be crazy passionate about the craft. It has to be something you truly love and want to do. It takes time, money, networking, and moving cross-country to make it. It is okay to just VA as a hobby as well. Find where your personal limit lies. I had to move away from my family. I had to completely leave my family behind to pursue voice acting. We are half a country apart from each other now. I can't see them immediately. When my grandmother was passing away, I couldn't be there by her side while she was dying. It's hard. It's really, really hard. So it has to be something that you truly, really, really want to do. It has to be worth those sacrifices. The sacrifices of money. You're not going to get a well-paid job. You know, you're going to be farther away from people. But like, if it's something you really, really love, if it's something you really love and you can look at it and you know you want to do it, you know you want to be a part of this, then do take the plunge. It's so worth it. It's so worth my time. I don't regret being here. I don't regret being here at all. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I made the move. Oh, it's like living my dream every day. You know what I mean? Sad handshakes. I occasionally read books to friends and call acting characters, and when my voice gets sore, I like to have honey tea afterwards. Exactly! Q&A! Alright, so we're technically right at the stopping point. We passed the hour mark, which means this is probably the perfect length, actually, for, like, a panel. Because usually panels are, like, an hour. But nonetheless, I will go ahead and leave it open for a little while, maybe like 10-15 minutes. If anybody has any questions or if anybody has any feedback they'd like to give, something they might want to hear. I'm glad you find the job so rewarding. I do. It's kind of like, I'm leaving my legacy behind, you know, a little. It's like someday I will be dead and gone, but the works that I've been in, the works I've been a part of, Gunbuster will still be there. Gunbuster will still be there. My video games will still be there. Shows that I've been in, like, you know, it's really, really fulfilling. I feel like I'm living my best life. This has really been incredibly helpful, thank you. I really want to seriously take the leap into voice acting, and I'm still nervous to start. I highly recommend doing it. It's so much fun. It's so much fun and so worth your time. And hydrate, absolutely can do. Let me take a sippy. Thirsty. Wonderful. It really is. I love it. I love it. I'm so passionate about it. I'm so passionate about, like, leaving my mark and also getting to show my art. And I might not be able to draw all that well. I might not be able to code. I might not be able to do all those fancy, technical, cool stuff that other people can do. But I can act. And I love it. And I'm living on the legacy that my granddad left behind, too, because he was also an actor. So, not a famous one, just a local one. But, you know, that means a lot to me. I might not be able to draw. Girl, since when? I can draw okay, but that's as far as it goes. It's like, yeah, I can draw okay. I'm okay. Talent comes from all parts, I suppose. Yeah. Everybody has their skills and their specialties, and, you know, embrace what you love to do. Embrace what you love to do more than how good you are. How good you are shouldn't matter as much as how much you love it. You know? The want and the desire and the enjoyment of whatever art that you are partaking in is so much heavier of a weight than whatever, like, talent or skill you have. So, keep pursuing it. Keep trying. Keep trying. I believe in you. You can get so much farther as long as you put your mind to it. If you ever want to learn to do something, research that thing and take that plunge. Yes! Take that plunge! I think I'd like to do some amateur stuff, but yeah, I don't think it's an industry I'd want to get into. It's a hard industry to be a part of. It definitely is. It takes a lot of work, a lot of dedication. But like really there's so many things you can do as a hobbyist. You can even do like indie games from where you are. Sorry, I know I'm like wiping my eyes. What? There we go. It is something you can totally do. You can even make like a little bit of side cash off of indie stuff sometimes. If you have like the money to have your own setup at home. You don't have to do like the whole big pro stuff to still seek and gain enjoyment and love out of what you're doing. Why is it like it's like I chopped onions or something? What? Come on. Is it maybe because I like almost cried for a second when I started talking about my granddad? I love him so much. He's like my inspiration and my role model in life. Feedback. Very good presentation. It also might be nice to have reaching out to other VAs as a topic. Oh, and pictures in the... Oh, okay. Yes, hold on. Let me write these down. Those are both very, very good suggestions. Pictures in the equipment section. And reaching out to other VAs. Ba-da-ba-da-ba. Taking notes. Notes taken. Very helpful. I will keep that in mind. I can tell you now the best way to reach out to other VAs. The best way to reach out to other VAs is to audition for fandubs. And maybe if you're like, if you're all in a group chat together, maybe like, hey, this is actually how Jello and Co. and I all became friends. Is I was like, hey, do you wanna play a game together? Do you want to play a game together? And then it like all rolled uphill from there. You know what I mean? We started playing Cards Against Humanity very often, and that's how we became friends. It just sometimes just asking something small like that. Sometimes, you know, that's all it takes. I don't really have any immediate questions, but I will say that if you show this at cons, you should probably suggest that viewers take a picture of the pages regarding hardware, because it's a lot to remember. Oh, that's also a good point. That's also a good point. Let me write that one down as well. Suggest photos of hardware. And I will have this specific section. Just this presentation, I will have it separate. So it will be its own thing on my YouTube as well as in the big 8-hour stream. Because I know some people are going to be most interested in this and not as much the other stuff. And that's okay. So I'll have that all set up, you know? Oh, your kindness got it all rolling. Yeah. I'm friendly. What can I say? I like hanging out with people. It's not VAs, but every friend I have online is from reaching out. Always reach out. The worst thing that can happen is nothing. The best is friendship. Exactly! You know, somebody might just say, nah, I'm not feeling it. And that's okay. But, like, you never know if you don't try. You never know if you don't try. And I know that the getting past that starting point is terrifying. It can be, oh, no. Oh, my sister called me. I'm sorry. I might have to be right back for this. It's a birthday call. I'll be back in just a moment. Right. The Kiss Meeks. The Kiss Meeks was redeemed. Oh, let me grab that. Okay, so basically, when my sister was just like, "Oh, I sent you something for your birthday. It's gonna be there be there at 2:15 her time. So it's gonna be like in like a few minutes now. That I'm gonna need to grab from the door because she doesn't want it sitting in the hot sun. So that might be cake. That might be cake. Anyway, I will fetch Meeks at that time. I will fetch Meeks at that time, and she will get so many kisses. Mwah. I love that cat. I love that cat so much. All right. Any other questions? Any other questions before we wrap up this section? Noir. Ugh, my family's so nice. My family is so nice. I took, speaking of, or note-taking. I took a bunch of notes during the last panel I was at. Oh, okay, that's also, I will add that. We're taking notes. The last time I did a panel like this, because I have actually run a panel that's similar to this before. This is not my first time. This is not my first time doing a, like, intro to VA panel. However, in the past, I had, like, less experience, so I'm like, I can do so much more. And I remember I gave away my blue snowball at that time, because I just, like, upgraded to my Rode NT1A. So that's how you can tell how long it's been. Not your first rodeo. Yeah. But I have different experiences and different thoughts now, so. Funny if the notes I took were also at a panel run by VTubers. Canadian VTubers. The big Canadian VTuber I follow is Lydia Nekozawa. That's like the only one though that I can think of off the top of my head. But she seems so sweet and so genuine. All right, it looks like that's the last of questions. Oh, I don't know if you do vocal warm-ups before recording, but if you do any warm-up or vocal exercises, right. Oh, so, everybody's vocal exercises are different. The ones that I have been taught are usually like, Mommy Memo Moo, Mommy Memo Moo, which is often mostly used for singing than it is for, voice acting. But like, wow, stuff like that. It's mostly about loosening your voice. So you want to make like noises that are not stressful on your vocal cords, but do loosen them up. For me, what I usually do though, I don't necessarily do the proper vocal warm-ups. I usually sing along to a song that I know well. And no is not strenuous for me to sing. For example, Liar Syndrome. By using, like, well, I don't remember the producer's name, but sang by Yuzuki Yukari, which I do have mostly memorized that song. That's one that's very light on the vocals, and it hits 2 different octaves, so it's quite good for me loosening things up. But that's my personal experience. I also find that Mare2 songs tend to be very good. The ones that aren't growly. Because they also jump very far. But that's what I do. It's different for every person. I know some people have different methods. I did not vocal warm up before stream today. Because I woke up and then I was immediately working on this. Okay. Let me check out what was next on the schedule. Next on the schedule is... Oh, it's the giveaway winners time! Okay. Let's see. We can